Hey guys, if you watched our last video, you know we are back in Florida. We just had a bunch of warranty work done, and last week we brought you behind the scenes to see what's been going on for the past year of our first year of new boat ownership.
So there was actually quite a bit of negativity in the comments on the last video towards the marine industry, towards Seawind, towards our boat. We're not here to defend Seawind, we're here to let you know what our experience has been, as we always have, and what the reality is. But we also think that people went a little too far in the comments, and we also don't think that that is the reality. So we're here to just kind of touch base and, again, try to clarify what is the reality, what people can expect, and what our thoughts are a little bit more on our boat and our situation.
And the reality is, no matter what brand of boat, new boat you buy, there will be something, a couple things, maybe many things, wrong.
As we've said in last week's video, I think we're actually in a much better situation than many other people with new sailing catamarans. There's some absolute nightmare stories out there. The fact of the matter is, we've been able to use our boat from the beginning. We've been able to sail, what, so far probably like 3,000 miles or more. Our friend Matt, who is a surveyor in the marine industry, he gets the inside scoop on a lot of these stories of issues with new boats and things like that, so he knows better than anyone what the reality is, along with other people, other new boat owners who we've talked to. And according to our friend Matt, you know, the best you can hope for is for the brand to fix these issues on their dime, on your schedule. And again, from what we've heard from other new catamaran owners,
that's certainly not always the case. And a lot of people are on like year wait lists to get major, like all the windows in their boats repaired, or like the bulkheads repaired. And like these sort of issues, you cannot sail your boat like we've been doing.
And there's a lot of stories where the brand isn't paying for the expenses that owners are having to deal with these warranty items, just kind of not covering it under warranty, which is just crazy to me. But again, like, we have not had any of those structural issues. We've been able to use our boat, and Seawind has been responsive in taking care of our warranty issues. Has it been a little bit frustrating? Yes. Did it catch us off guard with how many issues we've had? Yes.
Can some of this stuff be related to being hull number one? Yes. Can some of it not be? Yes.
And look, guys, at the end of the day, like I said before, 95% of the issues are taken care of, and when we have 100% of the warranty issues taken care of, we're confident that we'll have the boat that we were expecting from the beginning, and everything will be shaken out, working properly, and all the cosmetic issues addressed and perfect. We wrote and pinned a comment onto last week's video that said pretty much the same thing we said here, but with a little more detail. There's also a public response from Richard Ward, who is Seawind's founder and CEO, that I think many of you guys will appreciate. So feel free to go back and check that out, or just pause the video here if you want to read it.
Guys, we're just here to bring you along on our adventure, and we hope that you've seen in the past year that we do love our boat. We've traveled so far on her and done so many things, and in today's video you'll see that we're actually doing a few more projects to make her even more comfortable so we can go travel even farther and do more things. So, we hope you enjoy. Today, I'm removing this and adding our name.
Not our name, the boat's name.
No, our name. Our name. The boat's name. What are you working on?
Well, all week long we've been working on like the warranty things. I've been doing like a bunch of half days along with the Seawind guys. So those guys took off today, and I shifted over to some of our own not warranty jobs, such as changing the sail drive oil again, changing all the things, you know, getting the bottom prep, stuff like that. That's what I'm doing. I don't know where my old O-ring went.
If you had a choice and it was an option, would you ever get sail drives again?
I mean, it's not a choice on a boat like this, but like if I was designing my own boat from scratch, straight shafts I think would be a little more of a priority, but it's all such a trade-off. Like it buys you so much more room to use sail drives. So like in a boat this size, I think for how much room we have, like that's the trade-off, and it's perfectly fair. But straight shafts are just a little more straightforward and like less maintenance out of the water and stuff, so a little less can go wrong with them. So that's why those are better. But I don't know, these have been serving us all right so far. You guys, summer's here and we got the perfect summer gear in the tool shop right now. Obviously our sun hats, and if you guys have been watching for a long time, you might recognize some of these designs in here. We also got some sweet sun shirts with hoods, UPF shirts to protect your skin from the sun. They can get wet, they got a hood, they're really cool and comfortable. And we got some Corks sunglass straps so that if they fall off your face, they don't fall off your body. And if they fall off your body, they still float. So check out the link in the description to the Tula shop. I gotta go get mine. Everything in the Tula shop is waterproof. Right now, we're gonna start rolling into some more of our upgrades on the boat, some more of our gear we want to install just to improve the boat, not necessarily like repairs or warranties or anything. And one of the most exciting upgrades that we're gonna be doing this round is a boat monitoring system. It's called Barnacle. We actually have the owner and founder of Barnacle with us to help us do the install, which is super cool. Electronics is not my forte, much better at sanding freaking fiberglass.
You give yourself more credit. You do a great job. Super
glad to have you here, guiding us through and teaching us some of the best practices and just all of that. But real quick, Brandon, I'm so excited about the Barnacle Blue specifically, but can you just tell us real quick what the Barnacle does, and then what makes the Barnacle Blue a little bit different than
the totally. So we've got our new product that so stoked to be putting on the boat here. This is the Barnacle Blue. It's a sensor hub, so you're connecting to your existing NEMA 2000 bus, your IP network on board, connects through your Starlink and allows you to remotely check in on your boat from your smartphone, tablet, or computer. So yeah, view video, bilge activity, shore power connection, anything that you've got going through your C-Zone, your B&Gs, all that, you're gonna be able to remotely view from your smartphone now.
That's insane. So we'll be able to, we could be anywhere, and as long as the internet's on our boat, we could be wherever. The boat could be in Grenada, we could be back visiting Florida, go on our phone and see the temperature, humidity, possibly if the doors are open, look at the camera.
Yep, so you'll see a full live feed of the cockpit here. So yeah, if you're concerned about something at an anchorage, you can just check in on that. If a door is open, it'll start recording video automatically and send you a video clip. It's just like a home security system at that point. The Barnacle Blue came from a product that we developed for military called the Barnacle Black, where we're doing work with special forces, monitoring skin temperature, heart rate, breathing rate, sudden impact, all kinds of different sensor inputs, and then correlating it with all their engine data, their hull vibration. So we did all these different projects with military and figured out that they just wanted a hub that could connect all their different systems on their boats together, along with biometric data and whatever. And so we took that and we're like, okay, well, this could be a good fit for the recreational market, where we're not doing biometric data, but we can collect all the sensor data off the boat and allow someone to replay all of that from their phone or computer or whatever. But yeah, it all spawned from that military product, which has been wildly successful for us around the world too.
One cool thing we were just talking about was again, we'll be installing a camera, and we already started experimenting with live streaming a little bit more on YouTube, especially while we're underway, and now with Starlink, just the possibilities of that are just growing and growing.
Yep.
So I think it's gonna be pretty cool for you guys. I think we'll be able to live stream a little bit more with the onboard camera. Yep. And people will basically just be able to come sailing with us live.
Absolutely.
We've had boat monitoring systems in the past, and we find them super valuable, especially for our lifestyle, for all the reasons we mentioned. But
most importantly, because we have Jetty, and sometimes we can't bring her everywhere. If we have to go get groceries, she's not allowed in the grocery store, so we have to leave her on the boat, and we're in the Caribbean, it's hot. We like to know that the door is closed, she's not escaping, but also that the temperature is not too hot. If we need to call a boat neighbor and say, go get her, it's too hot or anything like that, we just know that she's safe. The boat is where it's supposed to be with her on it. And yeah, for me, that is the most important part.
Brandon, do you want to show us just the major components we're going to be installing?
Yeah, totally. So this is the Barnacle Blue itself. It's actually made out of recycled plastic, and we're going to be building it out of recycled ocean plastics here pretty quick. So we do our own manufacturing in-house, which is kind of fun, also very painful. But yeah, we connect up to the NEMA 2000 bus. We've got an Ethernet connection, USB, all kinds of stuff. We can do wired connections to bilges, but we're going to be connecting to an Axis camera. This is a 360-degree camera. We don't personally sell the cameras, but in my career I've probably installed something like 1,500 of these cameras around the world, and they're great. This one has a really wide field of view, 190-degree field of view, so you can mount it horizontally or vertically and then get a really nice panorama. And then we're going to be adding a Peplink, which is in a box over there. It's a cellular modem and router that allows you to switch between your Starlink, your cellular, or your connection to a Marina Wi-Fi, set different priorities. So all these things will work together so that you can make sure you have a reliable internet on board and then get remote connection without stressing about where you are.
So I guess the first thing we need to do is just kind of, what do you think, like find homes for these major components, like where we think they're going to be? Yeah.
So what you want to find is 12, 24, or 48 volt power source. Ideally, it's not switched power. You want this thing to be powered up 24/7 if you can. And then, yeah, you're going to be connecting via Ethernet to the Barnacle to your network. And then you want to be close to a NEMA 2000 drop as well too, so you can collect all that sensor data. Yeah, it's usually at a nav station. You're going to have all those connections there. We're just going to power up and plug into NEMA 2000, and that's 80% of the battle done right there.
Yeah, let's get installing. I disconnected shore power. I turned the inverter charger off at the unit, and we have all the switches turned off and everything. So Brandon's just making sure there's no power anywhere.
It's not fun to get hit with AC, so we're going to avoid that today.
So we need, what do we need, Brandon?
We need 24-hour power, basically. So when the system's shut down, obviously you're not going to get communications out. And what we've got here is a 12-volt DC hot is what it's labeled as, but this is where the bilge pumps are connected. Anything that is alarm related is going to have 24-hour power. So we'll connect the Barnacle Blue and the comms to that.
Shouldn't be switched.
Yeah, we don't want it to be switched, ideally.
So we'll pull just the negative off of there and positive off there, and that'll go right to the unit?
Yeah, then we'll be fired up. We're going to have the Peplink installed in there, where the Peplink has 3 ports. We're going to have one of the Ethernet ports connected to the Barnacle Blue. We're going to have the WAN port on the Peplink connected to the Starlink, and then we're going to have the 3rd port connected to a PoE injector, which is connected to the camera.
All right, I'm ready when you're ready. So we're just snaking the power cable for the Blue and for the Peplink from the power source up into the area where they're gonna live.
So we can plug them into the Barney and see what happens.
All right, we just pulled the last cable through the NEMA cable, so we're about to, I guess we'll hook that right into the backbone here.
Yep, exactly.
And then we're gonna power it up, and I think we'll be seeing stuff like you said, right?
Absolutely. The moment of truth. We'll see if we let the smoke out of anything. This is for the Peplink. We'll start with the Peplink. Oh yeah.
Got a light.
Lights on. An electrical engineer. Seen a light turn on. It's like
is that like a dopamine hit?
Yeah. Well, my dad said once I got my engineering degree, he's like, "Oh, you're just gonna turn lights on and off, aren't you?" Sure enough. Power up the Barney as well too. Let's get that dopamine hit as well. Yeah, there's a green light. Man, turned on some more lights. So I'm just connected with a dongle essentially. Ethernet to my Mac, plug into a LAN port, and then now we're into the Peplink. We'll call it Tula Peplink for now. Yeah, we've done the firmware update now. You can see that we got a bunch more options. We have our cellular, which is priority 1 right now. We have Wi-Fi WAN and Wi-Fi WAN. They're both, one's 2.4 gigahertz, one's 5 gigahertz. But you can then add, say, Marina Wi-Fi as a priority. You could say that you want Marina Wi-Fi to be the top priority and move down cellular. It's all configurable, but it requires that firmware update. And then if we want to connect to the Wi-Fi from a Marina or from another device, you're simply going to click on it and then scan for your Wi-Fi and connect to it for internet. But the firmware update helps a lot. So Got a GPS antenna connected to the Barnacle Blue here, just connected. It comes with the system itself. We're now going to connect it to our Peplink using an Ethernet cable. Comes with it, blue for Barnacle Blue, of course, naturally. Just plug it into port 2 on there, and then what we're going to see on the Peplink webpage here is we're eventually going to see the Barnacle Blue appear on the network. And then we'll know the IP address to be able to log into it. There's multiple ways that you can access your Barnacle Blue. You can use the serial number on the Barnacle Blue itself, enter that into a web browser with a .local at the end, or you can be going through your Peplink or other device to find its IP address. But as soon as you give it internet connection and plug in your Peplink, it's going to be available on this network. Okay, so we're now into the Barnacle Blue's user interface here. Let's put it as Tula for now. Seawind, what's the model of the?
1170.
1170.
Yep. 39.
39. Distance units, you're probably in feet.
Yeah, feet.
Fahrenheit.
Yep.
And then enable Barnacle app access. Yep.
Is this something that when normal, like, if someone else is setting up their brand new Barnacle Blue, they'll do?
Exactly. Yep. So that was just setting up some initial defaults there. Once we get an internet connection on this unit, we're going to see a map appear, but right now we see that we already have a GPS position found from this GPS antenna. We're seeing 12.9 volts into the power input. Speed over ground is 0.15 knots, so that's just us moving this GPS antenna around and getting a little bit of reflection from all the other boats. It has a built-in accelerometer to detect if there's any sudden impacts, if the boat's beginning to heel, and especially over a long period of time, you can understand if the boat's beginning to list in one particular direction. So we've just connected the NEMA 2000 connector into the Barnacle Blue, and we're now going to go take a look at what's been discovered on the NEMA 2000 network. So we went into settings, click NEMA 2000, and right now we're connected to the digital switching system, which includes some of the 24/7 NEMA 2000 devices, which are the batteries, the tank levels, batteries and tank levels. And then when we turn on the auxiliary instruments, we're going to see all the different environmental sensors, all the different equipment flash up automatically within our NEMA 2000 list.
All right, so we're setting up the camera, or at least we're going to plug it in, get it working, right, and see where we might want to mount it.
Absolutely. All right, just plugging in PoE. I added a watertight little guy on here, so we'll just connect that on. All right, so there's that. We'll now power up the PoE and plug this other side into the PoE injector, and we'll flash up the camera, make sure it's all good.
You're like 3 for 3 on
That's
lights.
Right. Yeah, so we're gonna plug an Ethernet cable in from the Peplink, and we're gonna use one of the LAN ports. We're gonna plug it into the data side. So there's all these warnings like this is PoE device only. We're plugging it into the data side of the PoE injector. And then the output, which will have the 48 volts, we're going to plug in the other side of this long cable, the one that we're going to run here in a few minutes, into the PoE side. We haven't let any smoke out. Oh, and we turned on another light. 4 for 4. So, yep, camera's now powered up. We'll give it a minute, and then we should be able to discover it on the Barnacle. With the Barnacle Blue, we can automatically discover the camera through our user interface. So we support, for all the nerds out there, we support a protocol called ONVIF, where the cameras are actually broadcasting their usernames and passwords and their addresses. So we discovered that this camera's on 50.66, the IP address. So here, let's open up 50.66. And then now we're going to be able to create some logins for this camera. We're going to be able to configure this camera, and we'll then add it to the Barnacle Blue once we're happy with how this camera's configured. All right, so here, let's we can make that live. So this is the way that it looks when it's in its fisheye mode, essentially. There's all kinds of different modes that we can have this camera in. I think, yeah, there we go. We've now created an ONVIF user, which can then be discovered by the Barnacle. So we've now got the camera on there. We're just going to simply turn on the camera. We're going to call it cockpit. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. We've now added the camera. So in the Barnacle, Yeah, there we go. We can see live video now into the barnacle.
All right, let me get my app up.
It should already be there.
That's crazy.
Oh, did you get it already?
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet.
Everything seems to be working. We got the camera working. All the NEMA data is coming into the barnacle system, which is pretty dang cool. So Brandon's gonna keep working. He's gonna connect some sensors back there. I'm gonna run the cable for the camera so we can actually get the camera mounted, and then we're just gonna start like running wires and getting things hooked up properly. And I guess we'll show you at the end of the day what we have hooked up, what we have coming into the barnacle system, and how we can view it. So we'll give you guys a little update in a little bit. So I'm gonna run some wires. Brandon's gonna do his thing. Sierra, you wanna help me?
Yeah.
I don't know. We're just trying to run this Ethernet cable all the way through the boat back to that Targa where the camera's getting mounted, and it's a difficult run to snake it all the way through.
Come on, how many times have you tried?
We tried like 5 times one way and then 1 time the other way, and the other way worked. It's always the other way that works. So while I'm still snaking this cable up through the boat for the camera, Brandon already has the shore power hooked up. So Sierra's gonna unplug the shore power, and we should see what here.
We should see shore power showing is disconnected, and then we're gonna get an alert on here.
Oh, there it is.
Shore
Nice.
power is disconnected.
Nice. And there's my alert right there.
Then what's kind of neat too that you can see from the Barnacle's web user interface is we've got a timeline up here, and we can see the little red stripes for when shore power was connected and disconnected, and it also marked a little GPS point on the map. Yeah. So if this was an alert for like sudden impact, like if the boat ran aground, you'll actually be able to see the moment that it happened, the GPS point tracked, and then all of that data being recorded in the Barnacle Blue so it can be exported.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Pretty proud of the darn thing.
That's
for sure.
Be.
All right, let's keep running this cable. I think right there, right?
Line up and...
All right, so we're getting an intruder. You open the door. Notification. And we set the parameter for when the door is open. It captures videos for 15 seconds before the door was open and for a minute after the door is open, which you can change those settings, but that's what we have them set to. So I got the thumbnail of that event happening and then the video with it, so we're looking at the same thing that we're looking at here, right? So this is the whole recording. So it should, in theory, this video should be a total of 1 minute and 15 seconds.
Yeah, I think we had it set to 30 seconds before, and yeah, so
okay,
we got
so
a minute and 30. Yeah,
okay,
yeah. So you got a minute 30 video sent to you.
So we have the camera just temporarily mounted outside right now. We still got to do a little bit of work to get it in its proper home. The cable run has been more difficult than we anticipated. So we'll probably continue to work on that tomorrow and get the camera mounted tomorrow, but we just wanted to make sure it was tested and all up and running, which it is right now, and we'll probably wrap it up for the day.
We're putting in the rules for the air conditioning. Now that is one project I am excited for.
Nothing like putting a couple of holes in our brand new boat, big old holes, right before it's about to go in the water.
I feel like we just did these on a different boat, on a different side of the world.
We did.
You're ready, right, Sierra?
Yeah.
Sierra,
I'm coming.
I can't hear you.
Chill out.
How you doing?
How tight does it need to be?
As tight as you can.
I feel like there should have been like caulk like oozing out
What?
of here.
How's it feel?
I'm still working on it.
Can't hear you. You gotta talk louder. How you doing?
I'm working on it!
Okay.
So I just hold it?
Yeah, but I need you to get up here probably. It's the best. Just push it in, don't drop it. And then you're gonna have to hold it really tight when I screw in this other one. And then you're gonna put in this one, how I put in that one, and just kind of twist it as you push it in nicely, all right? Okay.
I don't feel anything. Okay. Good job.
After a long, stressful 3 weeks, we're finally going back in the water. New boats.
I squeeze there,
Oh, that water looks so inviting right now. Oh,
I know.
my Lord. Oh, my Lord.
Make sure we start up, all right?
Put the fenders in now?
I don't think we're really gonna need fenders. Just stand by with them. CR, just so you know, current's going pretty good that way. I'm gonna ask if they could tighten us up against this wall pretty good, and then I'll just try to get out quick. Alright guys, we finally got the barnacle completely installed. It's been super impressive, like pretty cool that we can check on our boat on all the systems, even see on video what's going on board from the cockpit camera there from anywhere in the world. So we've used it a bunch already. We've even gone out on a date night and left Jetty aboard, and we're able to leave her roaming around inside and outside instead of locking her inside, and we could just kind of check in on the camera and make sure she's still on the boat. She didn't jump off or anything, which she never has done, but that kind of worries us still. So we already have the barnacle hooked up to our whole NEMA system, so we can see everything that's going on the boat that's hooked into the NEMA system. And then we have it hooked into our shore power, so we can see if shore power is on or off. Like if we're at a dock and it's meant to be plugged in but it accidentally gets unplugged, we can kind of keep an eye on that. And then our bilge activity, it's hooked up to our bilge pumps too, so we can see if the bilge pumps have abnormal activity and might indicate a problem, a leak or something that we have to get to the boat to ASAP. But it's been super impressive, and there's a lot more we can do with barnacle, like an infinite amount more things. So we do plan to do some more upgrades with it, including like temperature and humidity sensors and like proximity sensors and stuff like that. Just kind of see what it's capable of. But so far, we got installed, we got the basics down, and we're pretty pumped. So we're super happy and proud to be partners with Barnacle, and we actually have a coupon code for you guys if you are looking at installing a boat monitoring system. Super easy to remember, code TULA at checkout, 10% off any of the hardware on the Barnacle website. And you can always shoot us any messages, let us know if you guys have any questions on it or anything like that.
We're still at my parents' house, and I'm just trying to tackle all of our like little sewing projects, and one of them is we have shades for the big windows in the boat, but they only block out like 40% of the light. And in the tropics, in Florida, in the Bahamas, I'm sure in Panama, it still beats in and makes it hot. So some of our friends on Another Seawind, they had the genius idea, because getting these remade at 90% or at 75% is very expensive. The material's expensive. It's got a lot of curves that I don't trust my sewing capabilities to do. And it would just be really expensive and take a really long time to have a canvas person make them. But our friends figured out that you can get a super thick tarp. I got like 20 mil. I think they had like 16 or 20 mil tarp, cut it to size, and then when you need the extra shade, the tarp is so thick that you just unbutton this, stick the tarp in, and then you have no light coming through. And they only made it for one side, so you still have the other side bringing light in the boat. So that's what we're gonna do. The tarp cost a whopping $25, and we're just gonna cut it out to match, and then we'll bring it back to the boat and test it out. So I'm excited about that. Definitely did not have the money to get these remade right now. Let's cut her up. I have laid them all out, and now I'm just gonna take a permanent marker, trace them out, and then cut them. Okay, so I have it all cut to size. I have our screens back on. I just slid this in. I'm gonna get it right into position. Snap these back on. And now we have $30 100% blackout shades. Can't see it from the outside. It's falling a little bit in that corner, but I think that's just the way it was like folded. It wants to kind of sag until it flattens out. But crazy, huh? What are your struggles today?
I spent like, I can't even tell you how many hours I spent trying to figure out a wire run for our new solar panels, like a clean wire run behind the liners. And I finally found one. There's a small conduit back behind here, this messenger wire. So I have a messenger wire going through it. There's a conduit back here, but it's too small to get the appropriate amount and gauge of wires for the solar panels we're adding. So we could do 4 wires at 10 gauge would be the safe thing to do, but it could only fit 3 of them, like pretty tightly. So I don't know, I'm just trying to figure out a solution again.
And we leave in less than a week.
We have so much crap to do. So much to do.
Guys, I know you like watching boat work, and we usually like filming boat work, and I know we've been slacking on it a little bit lately, but when we're in a rush, filming takes so long, and we literally have less than a week to get all the solar panels on, hooked up, our life packed away and back on the boat for who knows how long. We don't know if the boat will ever come back to Florida, and you know, like provision for the next however many months, while trying to keep up with editing the videos and getting them posted and all that jazz. So we've been slacking on boat work, and we've just been showing you little bits here and there, and it's because we're in a very big rush and we're trying to work as hard as possible and get things done.
Yeah, we'll try our best to film little bits and pieces and show you guys what's going on. I think we're almost there. We got a lot of wire fed through there. We're just trying to feed the solar wires through this skinny conduit. It keeps getting stuck, but we fed a lot of wire into the conduit, and I think we are almost there past that like fat part of it where they're connecting and stuff, and the tape is. If we get that fat tape section past that one little curve up there, I think we'll be good. And we're just using the scope to be able to see up back there. My mom got this for a present. I don't think she knew how useful it would be.
Yeah, she did. That's why she got it.
So we're trying to run this cable for these solar panels.
It's been a 2-week process.
We got new solar cable the other day, and we tried to run that yesterday, but it's too fat. We need it to be 10 gauge cable because of the amount of current that's running through it, but the 4 lengths of solar cable I have to run through were too fat. So we got regular, this is just a messenger, we got regular 10 gauge duplex boat wire, which is a little bit skinnier overall because it's in a duplex cover, but the solar cable has this extra insulating layer because it's expected to be out in the sun, so it's got this extra UV insulated layer that we don't need because all the wires directly from the solar panel into the boat and everywhere are, none of them are going to be exposed to the sun, to any UV, so we don't need that extra layer. And we still have, you know, it's proper boat wire, boat cable, so it's tinned, copper, stranded, and then we still have it in the duplex cover, but even with that duplex cover, it's still thinner than the other solar cables. So now we got that all taped up with this messenger. We're trying to pull it through with this messenger, and we're almost there, I think. We have a lot in there, and we're just trying to get it all away.
How relieved will you be when you finally get it through?
Oh my god, when we finally get through, it's gonna be a big step, and then when we finally get everything mounted and done, that's gonna be another big step too. It feels so good to get all that done.
So Billy's up here pulling, and I'm down here in the bathroom with this cover off, pushing the wires up, and we're trying to not let them, we're trying not to pull them too hard where the tape comes off, because then we will be back at square one, and that will not be good.
Alright, can you go up and, when I'm ready, pull again? One, 2, 3. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Yep, getting a tiny bit. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3.
Plan E or F?
Do we have any like old candles or wax or anything? Like candle wax?
We have boat wax.
Is it gonna... Ooh, it smells good. That'll work, I think. You wanna start pulling? Vacuum.
After days trying to fish the wires through the conduit, we finally decided that trying to get it past the 90-degree turn was not going to be possible.
This is torture. Because we're drilling holes in our brand new boat, and they're just access holes that we're going to cover up with the vents. But I guess it's already been done trying to figure out that water tank venting issue. We put one up in that corner where Seawind did. So what's a couple more decorative vents in our brand new boat? This is just a skin right here. This isn't, you know, this looks like a big bulkhead, and it might be a structural bulkhead on the outside, but this is just a thin liner. So that's not a big deal. I can't even tell you how many hours trying to figure out different options for this. Just days, really, at this point. It's been days and days, and making no progress. It's been so frustrating. So I think to access that conduit and to I don't know what we're gonna even do still, but I think that's our best bet. What do you think? What do you think?
I think I'll get this over with. Turns out the first hole wasn't big enough, so we're going even bigger. We finally had access to the conduit and were able to slide it down so we could reach the exit point and help the wires make the sharp turn up to the ceiling.
Alright, we got basically most of our solar cables run now. We just need the last little bit of the solar cables from the panels actually through the roof, and then connect those, and we'll be set after I connect them to the switches as well. But all the wires are pretty much run, which is a big step.
Where's his friends? And just when we thought the hardest part of the project was over,
I went so bad.
The boat had a bunch of silicone on it when it was delivered, and we figured we would use it up before we bought new stuff to not waste it. Especially because it was the right kind. Turns out it was expired and half of each bottle was already cured, so it came out in a clumpy mess, and at that point there was no going back. So Billy did his best to pick out the clumps and got down in dirt to get it properly spread out so we'd have proper adhesion. We ran to the store and got new silicone for the other 3 panels, which made the rest of the project go much smoother.
All right, you guys, so when we originally spec'd all the options for this boat, we knew that we spec'd 990 watts of solar. And that's pretty good. That's the most solar we've ever had. But something we didn't take enough into consideration was the inefficiencies of flexible solar panels. Flexible solar panels have their pros, but one of the cons is that they're slightly less efficient than normal hard panels. So even though we had more solar than we've ever had before, 990 watts we soon found out wasn't quite enough for like most of our day-to-day activities, especially because we do charge like camera gear and we're on the laptops editing and doing computer work a lot and stuff. Maybe on perfectly sunny days when we're not doing computer work, it might be enough, but anything beyond that, it was just not enough for us. We knew we had to add some solar. So now we added 4 additional 175 watt panels, and so we have a total of what, 1,690 watts of solar. So now we are pretty dang good. Like even on overcast days when we're on the computer, we have generally enough solar. We're generally not in a deficit. And on most sunny days, we're getting back to 100%, you know, early in the afternoon. So ideally we would have orientated the new panels in the same direction as the old panels, but we have this nice cover over the little controllers on the end of the panels that we ordered from Seawind, and unfortunately that cover, it wasn't able to bend in this orientation, and then that, in addition to where the wire runs needed to be, we weren't able to orientate the solar panels in line with these. But I think it still looks pretty good. It still looks like pretty factory. Hopefully, you know, in the future the factory will offer a bigger solar package, and they'd probably be able to orientate everything perfectly for people who may be ordering this boat in the future.
Yeah, because you could have like 2 panels there, 2 panels there, 2 panels here, you know?
Yeah, and I would highly recommend, like, I kind of knew it, but we thought 990 was like more than we've ever had. We thought it was going to be plenty. Just get as much solar, like make solar a top priority. Even if you don't think you're gonna need it, it's just so much easier to have extra solar than not have it.
Especially if you're going no generator route.
Right, and especially if you're going the lithium route, which I do highly recommend as well. Just maximize solar. So this isn't all the solar we're adding. We're actually gonna add a few more panels up front, but these are gonna be portable panels. We're gonna be able to roll them up and store them away, and then when we're at anchor, we're gonna be able to actually unroll them and clip them to the trampoline. So it's gonna add another 600 watts of solar to our whole array for those days that we're on anchor for, you know, more than a day or two, and just really maximize the surface area of the boat and give us like absolutely plenty of power even on cloudy and overcast days.
To get that battery bank as high as we can before we go to bed so we can run that soon-to-be AC, baby!
Yep, so you can run your AC. We've done quite a few boat projects in our lives. We have this holding tank in here and it's leaking, so we're taking it out. It should be empty. And this one seems pretty simple and straightforward, and it kind of was, but at the same time it was one of our more difficult, frustrating projects, mostly because the wire run. And really in the end, I think that's just, it's kind of about looks. Like, it's really nice to keep those wires hidden and run behind the liner and stuff like that. So did we have to do that? I mean, we could have probably done it differently, but like, I think we got the looks perfect by hiding all those wires and having these nice covers and everything like that. But with that, it was just so frustrating trying to figure out and then get the wires through the conduit and finish that wire run. Ugh, so frustrating. So now we're finally done with this project, and that's all the projects we're doing for now. It's time to set sail. Hurricane season is basically here, so we got to get out of here. We got to get south. We do have more projects coming, and that's air conditioner and those additional solar panels that we talked about, but those are going to come down the line. We're going to do those when we're down in the Caribbean. For now, we're going sailing.